Hi, moms around the world. This is Jayde Skye, and you're listening to the Mommy Rules the World podcast. This is our second episode. And before I start telling you everything that we're going to discuss, I need to just stop a minute and say thank you to everyone for all of your support. As you know, we just launched this podcast. Our very first episode went live on Halloween, and we had over 100 listeners our very first day. According to the articles and research that I've read, having even 30 listeners or downloads in the first week is an indication of a top performing new podcast. The Mommy Rules the World podcast outperformed that goal in its first day. And I'm so excited, but we could not have done that without all of your support. So thank you for all of the shares, engagement, encouragement, the comments, and all of your support. This podcast is available on multiple platforms and streaming services. The best way to access all of the episodes is by visiting our website, mommyrulestheworld.com/podcast. On this episode, you're going to meet some additional team members from our community. While we discuss parenting topics, tips to prioritize your mental health, how to incorporate self-care into your daily life, holiday traditions within different family dynamics, AI identity theft, and how people are finding themselves the stars of AI sex tapes. We're also going to be discussing some popular posts and topics from our community, such as the infamous crab cakes, and even crazier stories we've never posted about. We're even going to teach you how to translate your teenager's lingo and use it to drive them absolutely crazy like I do. Make sure you tune in weekly and you're following our social media pages at Mommy Rules the World to keep updated on all events, contests, and promotions. Joining us on this episode are a few of our community moderator team members. We have Heather, Ashley, and Kira with us. We're still accepting applications for co-hosts. If you're interested in becoming a co-host, you can still apply on our website, mommyrulestheworld.com/podcast co-host application. Applications are open to all Mommy Rules the World members, not just our team members. If you follow my social media accounts, you know I shared on the launch day about how this was my return to creativity and production after leaving my radio show almost 9 years ago. I'm very excited to be back doing this, to be recording, sharing my creativity in my own way. Since I left the radio show, I had many people come to me and ask me, if I was going to go back to a radio show or if I was going to start a podcast. And truthfully, I always wanted to start a podcast, but I just wasn't ready. And I'm really, really glad that I waited. Our launch was extremely successful, and I truly feel grateful to be at this point in my life surrounded by so many great people. And I actually have a few of them here with me on this episode. Heather, you met Heather on episode 1. She's a Florida mom with 2 biological children. She has a 16-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. Welcome, Heather.
Hey, Mommy Rules the World. I had a lot of fun on episode 1, and I am back today for episode 2.
I also have Ashley. Ashley is a mom and stepmom of 2 daughters. She's also living in Florida. She's been on our team for many years. Let's welcome Ashley.
Hi, Mommy Rules the World. Thank you. I love being a part of this community, especially even to get parenting advice for a 13 and an 8-year-old.
I'm glad that you're here with us, Ashley. Now, I also have Kira. Kira is a mom of 2 now adult children, and it does not even feel real for me to say that out loud because I've known Kira since we were kids. I'm really excited to have Kira with me. She's been right here by my side, helping me with the community, and now I have her on the podcast as well, so I'd like everyone to welcome Kira.
Hi, Mommy Rules the World. I had a lot of fun listening to the first episode last week, and I am super excited to be here tonight.
I'm so happy to be doing this again. I had so much fun the first time, and to know that this is something that we're going to have ongoing is just, for me, it's super exciting, and I look forward to it constantly. I have just found so much support and so many different people, and it's really funny that I'm seeing so much support from my own family. My husband has been very supportive, and his way of showing support is to constantly send me articles and things that he think would be interesting for me to discuss with all of you. And I'm laughing while I say that because one of them he sent me, because he knows that we launched on Halloween, he sent me this Halloween related article about this mom that moved into a new neighborhood, and she is super fanatical about Halloween, like myself. And she moves into this neighborhood. So he's got, all the elements, all the things I like. He's like, it must be a perfect topic for me to discuss. And then it says that her entire neighborhood hates Halloween. They don't celebrate. They're like these childless millennials, they're these empty nesters, they're dog people, they have dog parks instead of kid playgrounds, and they shut all the lights off and they don't want to trick or treat. She goes on and on in the article talking about how she tried to persuade them, blah, blah, blah. So I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, this is my supportive, loving husband. This must have an awesome ending. It must be how she turned this place into Halloween town. And it's not. It really sucked. It was awful. I hate that lady. She goes on to say how basically she just gave up on the idea of Halloween altogether. And then I'm like, why would you send this? So then I get mad. I'm like, why would you send this to me? You just like ruined my whole day. Like, I'm feeling so happy about this podcast, and this is what you want me to, this is what you think of me. And like, I take it personal now, right? Like, I'm getting angry, and I'm like, what in the world? Who does that? Who hates Halloween? How do you have a whole neighborhood of people that hate Halloween? So now I want to fight the whole neighborhood, right? Like, I'm thinking, like, if that were ever me, like, I start getting, I'm getting like really hyper, and I'm telling him, I'm like, I would never tolerate that. Like, this actually happened. Like, this is real life. He sent me the article. I read the article, and I'm like yelling and screaming at him, like in the kitchen. I'm like, I would never put up with that. If that were me, I would organize this entire event, and I would bring all these hundreds of people in, and we would celebrate Halloween. And I'm like, wow, that's just really crazy, but super sweet that he really did kind of give me content, because now that I really love Halloween, and I take everything like super personal when people don't love Halloween.
I say we just go and find that neighborhood and we TP all their houses. I mean, if you're not going to participate in Halloween, then that's what you get.
They would probably like it. They would probably like, oh, free toilet paper, reduce, recycle, reuse. And I want to bring Halloween to that. I want to find that neighborhood and storm it with Halloween. And I want to get Kira in her costumes and just go march right in there blazing with, we are bringing Halloween to you. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, why would you send me that? I hate that lady. I don't know her. She might be very nice, maybe not, but how do you give up on Halloween? I'm never giving up on Halloween. I talked about that in the last episode, but rest assured, I am never giving up on Halloween. I don't care if I'm 85 years old, I'm still going out there. I'm going to pass out candy to your kids, and I'm going to trick or treat, whether you like it or not. You can go be mad at me at your trunk or treats or whatever other lame things you guys do, but I will have Halloween. It will live on.
It makes me so sad that like the neighborhood broke her spirit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, it was super depressing. Like, I was really expecting like this, positive, what I think is a positive spin. And it was just like, she's like, oh, so after a while, I learned to just appreciate having the quiet nights and doing other things. I'm like, no, lady, like, what is wrong with you? Move out. Like, what kind of neighborhood is that?
My kids might not go trick-or-treating, but my kids love to sit here and watch like Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason X. Like, we do horror movies all day long until like midnight.
Yeah, you celebrate Halloween, right? You don't just give up on it.
No, we don't. We celebrate it. We don't give up. We might not do trick-or-treating, but we still watch scary movies all day long. We love Chucky and Freddy Krueger and all of them.
There's a reason that all of you are my people, because I don't think I could get along with people that don't like Halloween. There are a lot of people that, they like to tease me about how they're going to celebrate other holidays in the wrong order. However, if they didn't like Halloween, I don't think they would be so instrumental in my life. I'm just gonna leave that out there. So I just really felt sad, and I'm like, you know what? This is like this is making me sad right now. And it just reminded me of how important mental health is. And I know that's like a topic that we talk about all the time, but I really felt my mental health decline in that moment because I, like Kira said, the lady was getting beat down. And I'm like, you just killed her spirit. You're killing my spirit. And I just, I always tell everyone, I remind them of how important mental health is and they have to make it a priority. And it's something that, we say all the time, and I know what it means to me, but I don't know if everyone really knows what it means. So I just wanted to just mention it again, how important it is and how you can do simple things, for self-care. People throw out the term self-care. You don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to book these crazy elaborate vacations, and you don't have to go to the spa and spend a whole day getting this. I mean, if you do, that's wonderful, but you don't have to do all that. You can do something as simple as just taking a few minutes and sitting down and watching a show you like, reading a book, even just listening to this podcast when you have some free time. Those are self-care things. It's very simple things. And, I know when we talk about it, everyone has these different ideas, but I think it's so important to just take some time. I do it for myself. I ride my Peloton bike. I do that every afternoon. I'll take, even if I only do, like 20 minutes, it's just a way for me to just disconnect mentally and just focus on something that's only for me, because we're a mom all the time. We work a lot, we have all these things that we juggle. Self-care is so important, but it doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't have to have a lot of money or spend a lot of money or do any of these like, planned out activities. I know there's tons of websites and Instagram posts that make you think you have to do all these things. And you just don't. You can just do simple things,
You could do simple things like just doing nails or going to get your hair done, walking outside, taking a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
Nap? What's a nap?
Yeah, Ashley, what's a nap?
Man, a nap is when kids are in school, you finish your schoolwork for the day, and yeah, you just take a good like 20-minute power nap.
I love a good nap.
Power naps are my favorite.
I think my regular sleep is a power nap because I stay up so late and then I get up so early. I think I'm in like power nap realm in the middle of the night. But yes, simple things. You mentioned, Ashley, just going for a walk. That is something that literally costs you $0. You can just go outside, get some fresh air, take, a 20-minute walk around your own neighborhood, down the street, or if you live in an apartment building, just take the stairs. It's just a few minutes to just disconnect. And I try to share ideas with people. I try to share that you don't have to do something elaborate. You just have to take some time. When my girls were little, I would go to the gym and I would put them in the childcare in the gym. And I would, I think they gave me like 2 hours total. And I would use that time either do a workout, or sometimes I would just go swim in the pool and take a hot shower in the locker room. And believe me, that is like the best care. So if you have young kids, seriously consider like finding a membership to somewhere where you can put them in childcare and just go take a hot shower. That is priceless. Just being able to take a shower without somebody, coming barging it. I don't know if kids ever outgrow that. Kira, I think you've got the oldest kids out of all of us, but my kids still have not outgrown.
Yeah, I mean they did essentially outgrow the, unannounced barge, but there's still knocks at the door, like, Mom, you almost done, I gotta ask you something,
Yeah.
so and I actually only have one living at home now, so I can't even, speak on both of them. My 20-year-old is on their own in their own apartment, so now I have a key to the downstairs door. So one of these days I'm just gonna bust in on her.
That's awesome.
Just show up, turn all the lights on, throw my shoes in the corner, she'd kill me for that, but it would be funny. It'd be worth the laugh. Sometimes things are just worth the laugh.
Kara, what age does it stop?
It was honestly, it was different for both of them. They're very different people, and matured very differently. So my oldest definitely pulled away from the younger kid stuff much sooner in her development than my younger child. Probably because she was the baby, she kind of hung on to that for longer. And she's still at home, and there are still times where there's the knock at the door, and I'm going about my day after work, cleaning the house or whatever, and she's following me from room to room. So I mean, it doesn't, I guess it stops when they move out. I don't know, I'll let you know when neither of them live here.
I do not want to think about kids moving out. I am not ready for that, and it happens too fast.
I'm not
I'm
ready,
like,
and we're
it's
2 years in, so
it's still bothering me that yours are essentially grown-ups, because I can't wrap my head around that. They're still babies. I still think of them as babies.
same.
Yeah, I only
So
have 2 more years with Taya, and then, she's going to be 18, and depending on what she chooses, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to handle it. And she's already told me that I can't change her room, that her room is staying exactly the same. She's going to know if like a shirt in her closet is moved and, all this stuff. So I don't know. She thinks she's just going to keep coming back until God knows when.
You're not going to want to change her room. I promise you that. My oldest, when she moved out, like she took everything, and the room sat empty for a year and a half, just empty, unused square footage in my house, door closed. Nothing happened in there for a year and a half until finally I was like, okay, this is a lot of wasted space. I don't think she's coming home, and we refinished the room, painted it, pulled up the carpeting, and essentially ended up, we moved in there, my husband and myself, and our previous bedroom has been turned into an office with a futon. So, if baby girl ever needs to come home on the fly, she can. And I mean, office, type furniture and crafting supplies and stuff can easily be moved if, she ever needed to actually move back in.
You guys are
How
talking
did
about moving out. I can't even get past mine. My oldest going to high school next year.
aw.
That's my baby. My baby's going to high school next year, and I'm not ready. But then I'm like, how am I old enough to have two in high school? Like, I don't feel old enough for that. Then that's the whole other other side of the coin there.
I
I'm
agree
glad
with that. I don't understand how I have two adult children, but I'll be attending my 20-year high school reunion in 2 days. So I guess I'm old enough, but yeah, I don't feel it. And the amount of shenanigans that I partake in daily, I think most people don't think that I have adult children either.
I'm so glad that I'm not the only one, because when I took Hazy out for her birthday, I'm walking through the water park with her group of friends, and I realize I'm the one adult in this friend group, and I'm like, how did this happen? How am I the adult? How did when she was born, I brought her home as a little baby on Halloween, and I'm like, I can't believe they're letting me take her, and like I get to leave. Like I couldn't understand how someone just let me take a baby, like it's my baby. And then I had that same feeling walking in the water park with her group of friends, and it's all these teenage girls, and I was the adult, and I'm like, how am I the adult? I was just your age like last week. But it really does happen fast. So if you are a new mom out there, I know everybody's that cliche thing of, oh, don't blink. No, but like seriously, one moment you're going to have a crying little baby that keeps you up all night. And believe me, Hazy kept me up every night. I swear she had a button in the back of her head. As soon as I would lay her down, she would pop those eyes back up and stare at me and give me that same face she gives me now. And now she's driving, she's, running, and she's ready for college. And I'm not ready. I'm not ready, you guys. I'm gonna cry.
I'm
I
not
don't think
ready
we're
to have a
ever
fourth
ready.
grader next year.
So since we obviously have teenagers, I promised everyone we were going to teach them how to communicate with their teenagers. I think this is a good time to bring that up, because I got my teenager to give me like a vocabulary list like we were when we were back in elementary school of all their lingo and what it means so we can share that with everyone. My favorite thing to do, my husband and I, we like to like aggravate the kids, the little things that they say, they say bruh. So every time the kids tell us something, we go bruh. And just, I like to annoy them with it. I find that if you take the things that they say and you flip it around and use it against them, they slowly stop using it. It's great. Like I don't know all the psychology behind it, but it works. So my daughter Araya, she loves to say, your mom, or then she drives me nuts with this. Like if you say something, she'll say what? Like she didn't hear you. And then when you start talking, she goes, ever. And she does it like over and over again. And it's super annoying. So we started doing it back to her. So I thought if I teach you all of these little slang words that these teenagers use to speak to each other, because they have our kids' generation, they're smart, they're lazy, and they're like a hybrid of smart and lazy. And they have found a way to take these expressions. We used to have expressions. They took them and they condensed them into like one word, or they've taken actual words and condensed them down into smaller words. And it sounds like a foreign language. I have a house full of teenagers. So when they're talking to each other, I'm sitting there. It's as if they're speaking a whole other language because I don't understand these words. But I've got them for us. So we can go over them. You can tell me which ones you're familiar with, which ones you hear, and tell me if there's any you don't know. So of course, bruh is the first one. And I swear they use that in everything. I mean, it means literally anything. It could be, a way that they show disappointment. It could mean, like, are you serious? It's when they realize something, like they have an epiphany. It's just, I feel like they use it for everything, in all different contexts. So I'm sure everyone has heard bruh in some way, form, or context. The
Yes,
one
my
that
8-year-old just used it on me tonight.
so there's like I said teenagers, but I guess it really just goes across all kids. And probably with the internet and TikTok and everything, I'm sure the little kids are probably talking just like the teenagers. It probably just goes across the different ages. The one that my girls say that I didn't really understand what it meant is they say girly pop. Do you know what that means? Has anybody heard that?
No.
I have not.
Okay.
I have heard it. Well, I read it actually. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was reading a post in some, group or another on socials, and I didn't understand it, even in the context of the big paragraph. I was like, okay, I don't know what that is.
So I thought I had an understanding of it because every time I would say things to Hazy, she would kind of use it to me in the way that she would use bruh. She would say girly pop. And I thought that was like her way of just saying, like, come on now, And then she called Josh girly pop. And I'm like, wait a minute, what does that even mean? So she told me that it means it's a slay man. It's a man that slays, which slay is another word, by the way. But it's a slay man, or it means like, are you serious? And that is how she used it with my husband. He told her something and she said, girly pop. And I was like, what in the world? So apparently, if they use girly pop, they're either questioning you. It's basically their way of saying like WTF, or they're calling you a slay man. So it's either a compliment if you're a man. If they call you girly pop as a man, it's a compliment. You're a slay man. Or if they say it to you as a girl, it's basically like WTF, like, are you serious? Which don't ask me how that makes any sense at all. But like I said, they condense it down. So
If I was a
Crystal
man
has
and you
only
called me girly pop, I would be mad.
well,
my
not in this
oldest,
generation.
she just goes
True.
up and says, that slays. Mom, this slays. Mom, that slays. Yo,
Well,
what's up,
slay.
slay man? And I'm just like, what?
Well, slay means that you're stylish or successful. It's a compliment. It's a high compliment. So if you slay something, it's a high compliment. If you did a good job. So don't be offended by that one. And in the same way, if your kids call you a girly pop and you're their dad, then that's a compliment. If they call you girly pop and you're their mom, they're probably like, like what? So yeah, take that either way. I guess they could mean it either way. Now, they say go off. I got her definition, but that has a positive meaning and it has a negative meaning, and it really depends how they use it. So if they are encouraging you and like hyping you and telling you go off, they're doing just that. They're encouraging you to continue. They're saying like go off. But if they say it in a negative way, they usually say it like, you know, you don't even know what happened. You don't know what you're talking about, but go off. It basically means like, carry on, but, we're disregarding everything you say. So now you
You got
know.
me thinking of some beans right now from Goya. That's what that sounds like is Goya.
Go off.
Yeah, because it's in Spanish, it's like Goya. It stands for Goya. It's a brand of like canned vegetables and stuff like that that Hispanics eat and they buy. That's what
Okay,
that's
so
like reminding me of.
did you just give us the definition of Goya as if we don't know what Goya is? You did. That's I'm going to add thank you, Ashley. I'm going to add Goya to this list, and I'm going to say when Ashley does the mom splaining version of the seasoning Goya, it is an insult, and we use it in a negative connotation. But yes, they say
I love you.
they say go off, not Goya. You cannot buy it at Publix. But go off, Ashley, go off.
You've been disregarded.
Or she's hyping her
So-
up, like keep going.
I still love all y'all.
And then snatched. Snatched is a compliment. It means that you look good. So if somebody has a snatched body, that means they have like a perfect body that's snatched. Now, that is not the context or the definition in which it was when I was growing up, which means something very vulgar, and we are not going to discuss it. So I was really confused when she was adding that. So I was like, where is this going? And then it went somewhere totally different. So hopefully in either my generation's context or your kids' generation context, it is something positive and looks good. Really probably wasn't in mine, but we're just gonna roll with it. So that's another one they gave me. Hits different. So hits different. It's not about anything being different, actually. It's their way of saying it's better, it's superior. So I guess their definition would hit different. It would be superior. She gave me, yeah, I know. She gave me some that I think we all know, which was funny to me that she thought they were new to me, because our generation probably invented them. Ghosted, noob, low key. I mean, I think everybody knows what those are. Simp is funny. You guys know what a simp is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so simp can be a noun or a verb. It's either somebody that is doing too much for someone they like, or you can use it to describe that action of doing too much for someone that you have a crush on or that you like. It's basically our version of calling somebody whipped, I guess. Yeah, which is cringe. That's another one. That's how my kids love to tell me I'm cringe. When I write all those nice things about them on my social media accounts, they say I'm cringe. So you can be cringe, your content can be cringe. Anything that is embarrassing, your kids will call it cringe. Whether it is actually bad or not, everything to them is cringe.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten that quite a few times.
Yeah. All right. So the opposite of cringe would be bussin'. Now, the first time I ever heard bussin', I made my kids something for dinner. Don't ask me what it was, but I made them some dinner and they were so excited. They were like, that's bussin', bussin'. I'm like, what? What in the world are you even saying to me right now? Are you even speaking to me in English? You're not, that's not English, Spanish, Italian. And I've never, what are you saying? Well, apparently bussin' means it's good. It's a compliment. And I did not know that. I learned that maybe about a year ago. I thought it was crazy. So
I learned that this year.
Yeah. If you don't know, now you know.
See, now you should have written that meal down because you know that all four of them like it, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, that would have been smart. But whatever it was, I'm sure it's something they asked for again. Unlike the menu that's most frequent of I don't know, I don't care, whatever you're making, food. Those are usually the things that my kids request. That's not on the list. That's not on the list, of course, because I don't think they know what that actually means. It would be nice if they gave us a menu to tell us, I don't care means like chicken nuggets. I don't know means a sandwich, but no, they don't make it easy.
At
I
least
went to a
my kids
restaurant
tell
that
me.
had that.
You did?
Yeah, I went to a restaurant that had that. They were like, I don't care, is chicken tenders with fries. I don't want that, was like peanut butter and jelly, or it was like everything that kids say, that's what their kid menu was. And I was like, that's awesome.
You just inspired me. I am going to tell my kids each one of those phrases is now assigned to a meal. So if you tell me you don't know, you're getting spaghetti. You tell me you don't care, you're getting chicken. That's great. I'm going to use that. We can create that. We can make that in our group and have everybody. We'll give them the answers to all their problems.
My kids at least just tell me what they want to eat. Most of the time it's Wibble and weenies, which is in English eggs and weenies cooked together.
Sounds like you use a lot of Goya on that.
No, I only have one kid who eats actually beans. My youngest won't touch it. She won't touch a lot of foods. She prefers like veggies and fruits, and that's okay with me.
Yeah. Speaking of food, if you tell somebody that they ate that up, that's a compliment. It means like they did a good job. They ate that up. And then if you really want to compliment them, you tell them they ate that up and left no crumbs. Yeah, I don't.
All right.
I don't really.
That's a new one.
Really have a lot of words for that, but you could tell somebody they ate that up, and then the opposite of that is when somebody thought they did something impressive, but they really didn't. You would tell them thought you ate, like you thought you ate. Now, I coached cheerleading for a long time, and a lot of the kids are, the preteen teenagers, and they used to, every time we would throw stunts, they would look at each other and go, thought you ate. I thought they said, thought you ain't, like AINT, thought you ain't. And I was really confused. I'm like, what in the world are you saying to each other? And then I learned later that they meant thought you ate, like you thought you ate that up, like you thought you did a good job. So they're really insulting each other way more than I thought they were. And yeah, I was a little slow processing that. So I wish I would have known now. I mean, known then what I know now, but now all of you can know. So if your kids are yelling at each other, thought you ate in the back seat, which my kids do when I'm driving down the street, then you know that they're insulting each other.
It's just sibling love.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a Discord kitten?
A what?
A Discord kitten.
What is that?
Okay. So it's basically like it's on the platform Discord. So it's like a gamer girl. And it's a kitten. So it's kind of like, think of like kind of like on the idea of like a Playboy bunny. It's a young girl and she dresses in like all pink and she plays games, but she has like an old man or like an old guy boyfriend on the server. And she's his Discord kitten. She's a Discord kitten. They use that as an insult. Unless I guess you're into that. Unless your kids or someone's into that, they usually use it as an insult. They call them a Discord kitten. So if your kids are calling each other a Discord kitten, get into their electronics, shut all their settings down, lock it down, because they're doing some stuff you don't want them doing if those words come up. And you will probably find that cringe, and you will want to make sure that they have everybody ghosted. What else do I have in here? Riz. You guys heard Riz?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Okay. So it's basically just short for charisma, and it means exactly the same thing. Just for whatever reason, our kids' generation didn't know the word charisma, and they were mind blown when they learned that there's an actual word, charisma. So they call each other, they say that you have Riz instead of you have charisma. Same exact content, same exact everything. They use it in context exactly the same, but they say Riz instead of charisma. Now, imagine my horror when I thought they were saying it with a J, and I was like, what in the world are you saying to each other? But no, it's Riz with an R, not a J.
Doesn't it seem like just kids shorthand everything instead of trying to have like a complete full-on sentence or a conversation anymore?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We have the generation, they actually say LOL in sentences out loud to each other. And I'm like, I remember when we first started using, this is really going to make me sound old, but I remember when we first started using like the chats and stuff, and we would like write notes to each other in class, and obviously we didn't have phones that we could text, so we would just write notes. And when we started writing LOL on the note, it felt kind of weird, but we all knew what we were talking about. But I never thought that in a few years from then our kids would actually be saying LOL to each other out loud. I mean, the whole point of LOL was shorthand for actually, to let them know you were laughing on the other end. And then the fact that they say it to each other with a straight face, they're like LOL. And I'm like, what in the world?
So funny story about LOL. When we were, teenagers, and everybody started getting like the computers in the homes and AOL and the AIM chats and everything. I was chatting with somebody, I don't remember. But my mom asked if LOL stood for Lando Lakes.
She thought it was butter. She thought you ate that up, Kira.
Yeah. Yep.
Your mom is adorable.
Your mom is a W mom. She's a W mom, not an L mom. She's a W mom. The W mom is like the highest compliment. If your kids call you a W mom, that means you're winning as a mom. They approve. You got their seal of approval. So that is the highest compliment you will get from your kid if they call you a W mom. And I did not know that. My daughter, she went to school. She's terrible, like to wake her up in the morning. I'm like, it's a nightmare. So she almost missed her bus for just missing it like the day before. She runs out the door with like none of her stuff. And now my daughter is a cheerleader. So there's like a varsity football game after school. She's got, she does cross country and soccer, and she's got like all these practices and student government meetings. And she runs out the door with nothing. And she gets to school and she texts me and she's like, I have a game right after school and I've got to get to it. And I don't have any of my stuff. And I'm like, okay, tell me where. And she's like, I'll bring it to you. She goes, yeah, but it's not in my cheer bag. Like, you're going to have to find it. Now, when your teenage daughter tells you you're going to have to find something in her room, that is like, you need to call Indiana Jones, because you're going on this mission of like, the hidden doom. And so I tell her, I'm like, okay, just give me a list and I'll go look for all the things that you need. And I did. And she's like, you're such a W mom. And I'm like, a what? Like, I was like, what in the world are you talking about? So apparently that is like the highest compliment. And if you do something crazy, like go in your teenager's room, they will call you a W mom. So that was how I learned that lesson.
Okay, I have to ask, do they at least keep their rooms organized and clean for you? At least make it simple to find it?
It depends. So we are really big on like keeping the house clean, and like, we don't allow them to eat upstairs in their rooms or anything like that. And they're responsible to clean their own room and their own bathroom. That is like their job. That is like their one job. They live here. They have their own room and bathroom. They have to keep their own room and their own bathroom clean. Now, they do keep it clean. However, let me just caveat that they are teenage girls and they play a lot of sports. So every morning, even though each one of them has a walk-in closet of their own, they pull out every piece of clothing that they have ever owned and throw it like it's like a cartoon. Like every morning, it's just like these clothes are just flying over their head, like it's like just like the cartoons we watched when we were kids. So every single morning, if you open their bedroom door, there's like this mountain of clean clothes that they've ripped out of every drawer, every closet space. Whatever sports equipment they don't need for that day is like just thrown around. That's if it makes it upstairs. they're really terrible about just like as soon as they come in the door, they drop everything at the bottom of the stairs. I posted a picture of it not too long ago because it's hilarious to me. We collect everything and they drop it there, and then it's like this giant mountain. And yeah, outside of, I mean, they things are clean, but every morning you can rest assured every single morning they are going to rip every single piece of clothes. And I don't understand it. I don't, because they have drawers, they have organization, they have a walk-in closet. I mean, when I was their age, if I had my own bedroom with my own walk-in closet and my own bathroom, everything would have been like perfectly clean and neat. I did that with, the smaller space I had, and they just don't. Like every day it's just like I'm telling you, it's like a cartoon, each one of them just rip everything out. So yeah, it's we every day they come home and okay, clean your room. They take all the clean stuff and they put it away, and then you would think they learn, but they don't. Like every single day they do this, and every single day we have to tell them, get up there, clean your room, put all your clothes away, and they do every day. And then it's the next morning, it's the same thing. Like like the definition of insanity, like repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That's my kids. Insanity every single day. Clothing, like a cartoon, just thrown over their heads in a big pile.
So it's pretty much like a hurricane every single morning.
Yeah, more like a category 5 hurricane meets a tornado on land in my house, ripping through my kids' bedrooms. Yeah, kids are fun, right? I mean, look,
Mm.
I am not going, I know I'm totally like exposing my kids, but I am not ever going to be one of those people that pretends like everything is perfect or life is I truly despise those people. The internet is full of them. I feel like if that's the content you're looking for, first of all, you're never going to find that here. And if that's what you're looking for, there's so much of that out there. It's in abundance. I mean, just scroll the internet, you're going to find some wannabe influencer telling you, "Oh, my house is perfect all the time." No, my kids don't ever make a mess. As a matter of fact, my 4-year-old scrubs the house with a toothbrush because I taught him so well. Like, just be real. And as a matter of fact, it's another teenage slang, BFFR. It means be so effing for real, because there is no way you're telling the truth. And I don't know, it goes back into like we were talking about mental health. It's so important when you are on social media or just in general life, do not compare yourself to other people. Don't do it. Don't compare yourself to your neighbors. Don't compare yourself to your friends, because they're not telling you everything that's going on, first of all. And then on social media, they're not even telling you like 98% of real life. For whatever reason, people just love to get on there and paint you this pretty, they clean everything, they take that one nice picture, they probably have like 87 of the same pictures in their camera roll, and they pick the one that's the most perfect. So they probably edited things out of the background to tell you their life is perfect. And they love to get on there and make you feel like crap. Don't do it. Don't buy into it. Don't compare yourself to it, and just, don't believe it, because I promise you it's not real. As much as I try to like keep up with my house, I'm just gonna be real and tell you I have 4 kids, and every day when they get dressed, they rip everything out and just it's a cyclone. It's really like the cartoon. They just rip it out of the you guys know what I'm talking about, where they pull the things out of the drawer in the cartoon and just throw it behind their head.
Yeah. Well,
Even
I think,
as Go ahead, Heather.
oh, I was just going to say that, with what Jade was saying, that 9 times out of 10, when people are posting their what they call Instagram worthy pictures, 9 times out of 10, they're posting it to make themselves feel better because they don't want to accept their reality. So I think if
Mhm.
we all kind of keep that in our mind, that they're doing this for them because they're not in, the mental state that they should be, and they're not willing to accept the state that they're in, I think we would all just be a little bit better.
I agree 100% with that because we're all moms. We all have kids. We all let our kids are always in an activity, or we're busy with work, or we're doing something else. Ain't nobody's house stays perfectly clean 95% of the time, or even 100. I have dust in my house. Like, I'm busy. And that's the reality of it. People, it's like Heather and Jade both said. You can't, you want to fix something that you don't want to accept it. acknowledge it. That's the word I'm looking for.
You know what? And I think it's important that we just remind people like it's okay to live in reality. It's okay to participate in real life. It's okay to, go over to your neighbor's house and knock on the door and not expect that, their 4-year-old scrubbed the house with a toothbrush and, the 6-year-old put all the laundry away and everything's color coded and, that's not real life. And it's okay to live in reality. We've come to this place in our lives, in our social lives, in society where we're constantly comparing ourselves to something that's not real. And I like to remind people to live in reality. It's okay. I've seen a lot of people talk about showing up for their kids, and people will say to me, oh, must be nice, you can always go to all these things for your kids. And it's like, my kids are very important to me, and I make an effort to show up to things for them because it's important to them, but I can't always show up to everything. Let's be real. I have 4 kids that do a lot of things. I cannot be at every single practice, every single game, every single event. Sometimes there are things I want to be at and I just can't, and that's okay too. I was telling someone that just recently this week, she was very upset because she couldn't make it to a Halloween event at her child's school. And I told her, it's okay. You're seeing everybody on social media telling you, you have to make time, you have to show up, but sometimes you just can't. And that's part of parenting. In real life, you have other, commitments or responsibilities, and you cannot always do everything. And that's okay. It's okay to not take on everything just because the influencer tells you you need to, or the social media tells you that you're a bad mom if you don't do this or that, or have it all perfect with matching outfits, and don't even get me started on all that stuff. But yes, I think it's important to remind everyone to just live in real life. It's very simple, and I think it's a good reminder that we all need at times.
I completely agree. 100%. I missed an event at LEAP, my youngest school, just this week because I had class. I told her, I said, look, mommy can't be here today. I said, but you can come home and tell me all about it. I promise I'll do my best to be at the next one.
And you know what? That's perfectly fine. That's what we need to do sometimes. We cannot be everywhere and do everything all of the time. It just to live in these absolutes. And I feel like society puts all this pressure on us as moms. They want us to work like we don't have children and raise children like we don't have to work. They want us to be at all of these activities that are all at the exact same time. And then they expect us to take the perfect pictures of all of these things and only share the perfect version of everything all of the time. And that's terrible. Like, no wonder why everyone is struggling with their mental health. That is, how can you expect people to actually function in a world that is not real? It doesn't make any sense. So when I tell you to prioritize your mental health, realize that it's okay to live in reality. You don't have to put on this fake image. You don't have to pretend to be, this superhero parent showing up to every single thing. And it's okay if you miss something, or you're not able to attend something, or if another parent is able to help you out and give your kid a ride to a game, or it's okay to miss one. It's okay to take that time and do all of the other things that you have to do for your kids. That's perfectly okay. And I say moms, but it's not just moms. I know dads have a lot of the same pressure as well. So it's, I'm saying that for everyone. And men especially, their mental health is not made as much of a priority as it should be. So if you have, if you're listening and you have a partner that's a man, or if you are a man that's listening, you need to prioritize your mental health just as much. It's something that's not talked about, but it needs to be. And self-care goes for everyone. Parenting is hard, especially if you have teenagers. That's really hard. And I know toddlers are hard, but it just gets worse. So again, if you're a new mom listening, I'd love to tell you it gets better, but as you've heard, it doesn't. So I don't know when they move out if that changes. Kira has yet to get back to us on that, but I can tell you with a 17-year-old and You know, I have an 11-year-old, 13, 15, and 17, and it has not gotten easier at any stage. It's just a different type of hard. So definitely prioritize your mental health. Definitely practice that self-care, even if you just go for a walk around your neighborhood, even if you just, put in your headphones and go, I like to rollerblade around your neighborhood. I do the same thing that I did when I was 12 years old. And that is my, self-care. I don't know if I'll ever grow up, but who needs to? I guess that's kind of overrated too. Now I'm
Jayde,
going to learn. Yeah.
you was talking about like mental health. Like my
Mm-hmm.
husband, his mental health, he loves to just like game out and just zone out and just be on his game. That's how he actually d does his own self-care. He'll play on his games for like a few hours,
Yeah.
and
And
that's how
that's
he like
something.
just decompress.
And you know what? That's something that you buy a game system, or whether it's a game system or a computer, you buy it once, you have it, and you just, you come home, you plug into it for an hour or so, and you just use it, and you kind of engage in that. You disconnect from, the other stress of your day, your work day or whatever, and you're home, you're with your family, but you can focus on that game that you enjoy and give yourself that downtime. I know we have a lot of moms in our community that game, and I think that's another way to just give yourself the time, whether you're playing a game, or even if you call a friend and you just have a conversation with them for an hour or so. That's self-care. I think men and women need to do that.
I completely agree.
Do you low-key agree, or do you um I'm trying to think of one of these other words, how I can use this, and I'm really struggling to use these teenager words in context. um
No, I completely agree with you on it because mental health is a lot, and just running businesses, because I've seen it with my husband, it's a lot of stress. And you just need
do
to
you
like breathe.
do you know what a got is?
No.
Anybody know what a got is?
No.
It's a big butt.
Oh, I ain't
It's a
got that.
what?
I know. It took me forever to understand what I did not understand what they were talking about. But yep, it's
It's
an
a what?
acronym. It's a big butt, you know?
Oh
Like,
my.
I like big butts. That's a big butt. And I didn't know what they were saying, but like, I guess runners, from running, they build up a big butt, and we would be at track meets, and all these teenagers would go, they point out the other runners, and they go, he's got a got, or she's got a got, and I'm like, what in the world are you saying? And they're like, then they explain to me, it's the butt. It's like a big butt. So you can embarrass, or actually you can be cringe with your teenager. You can be cringe with your teenager, and you can tell them they have a bussin' got. They probably don't put all that together, or they'll call you out on it. But let's see what else. Oh, that's wild. They use that usually in a positive way to comment on something, saying that's wild. I've heard it used sarcastically. My daughter says that's not correct. I guess us older people use it incorrectly. And that's probably why they cancel us, which means to delete or remove something or someone from your life. And if you use these wrong, they will tell you to take the L, which means you lost. If you say something to them that they like, for example, if you say, oh, let's not cook tonight, let's go stop and get whatever their favorite food is, and they say less, that means like, I'm so on board, I don't even need to hear anymore. So say less is good.
Oh, my daughter
But
uses that with me all the time.
so now you know what it means, or you might have already known what it means. However, if they tell you that you're pressed, that's not good. That means you're upset. Now, they also like to compliment each other by saying that you had a glow up, which is a positive thing. It means that you've either had a recent makeover, or you've made some improvement to your physical appearance. So you've had a glow up. It means you look nice. You look better than you did before, which is probably insulting if you think about it, but they mean it in a positive way.
Yeah, it's
Now,
a little
if you use
backhanded there.
it might be, or maybe that's not the way they intend it. She's probably going to listen to this and go, "What are you talking about? That is not what I told you. You didn't say it right." And then, I'll be a big liar and I'll be an L mom, not a W mom. I'll be an L mom. And then they tell each other to touch grass. Do you guys ever hear that? Go touch grass?
Is that like our version of like go kick rocks?
I mean, I would love to say yes, but they're not that clever. So their version of touch grass, it really ties into what we were talking about the fakeness on social media. It's when somebody is getting out of touch with reality and they tell them to go touch grass, like come back to reality, go outside, come to real life. You've been living in the internet so long that you're believing your own BS, go touch grass. I like that one. I'm going to use that one. I think that's
I like that one too.
I think that's probably one of the only things I'm going to use. Into which one of you would reply bet, which means that's an affirmative. Like you're gonna second that motion. You're gonna bet. So, and it's not actually gambling or any betting. It's just bet. Just means that you affirmed that statement. You understood the assignment. You know what that means? That means you fully met the expectation, or you exceeded the expectation. You understood the assignment. I don't know if my daughter will tell me I understood the assignment while I'm teaching you all of this. She does not know why I want to teach all of you this, so she may not like that. But she did tell me that drip means popular fashion. So if your kids tell you to respect the drip, or if they talk about their drip, they're talking about their clothes. I didn't get it. I still don't. But cake also means butt. Your butt is cake. And I tried to explain that there's a song about that, and I was told that I didn't know what I was talking about, so I just let it go.
Well, of course not.
See any others that I haven't mentioned. So I think we now know all of the teenage slang, and we can use this. I'm definitely I'm going to put this on the fridge, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to teach my husband. Josh and I are going to drive these kids absolutely insane. We're going to use this in everyday conversation. I'm going to be the most cringe W mom I can be. I guess as long as I'm
probably going to want to type a couple of copies, because I have a feeling the one copy is going to disappear very quickly.
I have that same feeling. Hey Jade, have you heard the one lingo? My husband uses it all the time with playing Fortnite. It's clap those cheeks.
This is not that kind of show, Ashley. This is not that kind of show.
No. What are we talking about here?
No, because I guess when they do like a victory and hit the game, like Fortnite, he's like, "Oh yeah, we clap those cheeks," and I'm just like, "What?" And he's like, "No, it just means we all worked really hard on trying to get the win." I'm just like, "Okay."
That's a different kind of work they're putting in there, and I don't want to know anything about that. Oh my God, you know what? I forgot to tell you. Okay, so I mentioned when we first started that one of our topics would be the AI identity theft, and I forgot to tell you about that. Let me tell you, this is the craziest thing that I'm going to tell you on this entire episode. So, all right, I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. So, everyone has started to use AI, artificial intelligence. You've seen it all over social media. You've seen, the AI generated images. I think the most recent thing people were doing is using AI to create all of these fake yearbook photos where they take a picture of themselves and then it uses AI to create them, in all these different things. The yearbook photos, so make them do sports or class president or whatever. You've seen them. Well, now it goes way further than that. So there was a woman, she was an engineer, and she found out that someone used AI to create an artificial sex tape of her. It was her real face. They took her real image and they put it, they, I don't know how they do this because I'm not, that kind of computer programmer, but they somehow took all her pictures, they scanned them, they found a matching body type, and they put her face into this pornographic sex tape with who knows, I don't know. Apparently, this started because people had these fetishes of seeing their favorite celebrities, in these sex tapes. So that's where it started. Now they're
That
targeting,
is crazy.
yes, they are targeting real people. And the craziest part is that there are these like platforms where they advertise this service, and for as little as $30, they ruined this woman's life and only paid $30 to do it. I mean, I thought it was, look, I know we always talk about crab cakes. I thought it was crazy that someone was able to buy, pubic lice on the internet, but the internet is a dark and scary place because you really can buy that on the internet. And now you can pay somebody a very small amount of money and they can ruin someone's life. I mean, I know, there's plenty of sex workers out there, but if you choose to do that and that's your content, you control it, you sell it, that's you, that's fine. But imagine if you don't, and someone just takes your pictures and they create these tapes that look, they are you. I mean, they are your face. They look just like your body type. They are you doing these things that you have never done. Now imagine somebody does that to you and your coworkers see it, your husband sees it. How do you explain that? Because they're watching a video of you.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't even think you can. You would have to have the absolute utmost trust in your marriage, your career. I don't think you could save that, especially like she was an engineer, so she's, already in a male dominated workforce. They're definitely not going to believe her, you know. That's just that's absolutely horrible. I hope that she's like somehow able to track down like the IP address or something to hold these people liable. But of course,
That
they probably masked it.
No, that's the worst part. They didn't even have to hide it at all because there are no laws to protect against this AI generated content. So she filed the police report, she reported everything. They found the people that created it and they can't do anything because they technically did not violate any laws because we don't have any laws to protect people. So anybody can do this. And until we scramble and write laws, there's no way to hold them accountable. I mean,
That's disgusting.
I don't know if, I'm sure there's a law firm out there right now scrambling as we speak, trying to come up with something to protect people. I'm sure they might go after some other, legal part of that. But right now, there is no law for AI to protect people from having this happen. So it's kind of like the wild, wild west. Our technology is surpassing the laws that we have in place. It's a really scary thing. I mean, we're talking about it, so we're bringing awareness. So now we're thinking about it. But if I hadn't heard about that, if I hadn't read that, I would have no idea. And if someone handed me a video of my husband having sex with someone else, I mean, I wouldn't just automatically say, "Oh, this might not be real." I'd be like, "What is this?" That's just, I guess our first thought goes to, ourselves or our partners. But then what about our kids? Imagine if someone
That's what
showed
I
your
was about to get to.
imagine
Yeah,
if
that's
someone showed your
horrifying.
imagine someone shows your kids a video of you and but it's not even you. How do you tell your kids that's not me? They're not going to believe you. They don't even believe us when we're right about everything. And I mean, they're not going to believe us when it's that. I I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but I mean, my first thoughts are, of course, how does it affect your immediate personal life? How does it affect your professional life? And then I started thinking, I'm 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 probably not like normal. I know I'm like super weird, but I mean, those are normal thoughts. But there's a lot of people out there that are not normal. So where does it go? I mean, I can just imagine all of the dark things people might do. I mean, teachers and kids, and where does it start? Where does it end? I mean, what in the world? Where are they going to take it, and how do we protect people from having this happen? It's scary and disgusting.
Or how do you teach your kids to make sure that they're protected so it doesn't happen to them?
And it's,
That's what I was thinking, the poor kids.
yeah. And I mean, even if, even if you like lock down your social media and you don't allow, anyone to post pictures of you or your kids, you still have images out there. Images are everywhere. We have so many cameras out. I mean, think about it. In this day and age, you probably can't get away with anything that you could even 20, 30 years ago, because there's cameras everywhere. Every building, every home, everywhere has cameras. So your image is out there. So even if you think, oh, I'm just lock down my social media, I won't let anyone take any pictures of my kids, it doesn't matter. The minute they step outside of your house, there's no expectation of privacy, and there's cameras everywhere. So it's how do you protect people? It's really scary.
I just hope that, like you said, there's probably some law firm right now scrambling around. Like, I hope there's something going on in the background to put, laws and protections and just set the precedent,
I hope so. I feel terrible for that, that one woman that I read about, the engineer, but I mean, that's just the one I heard about. I don't know how many others. And the sick thing is that, it's in one way it's great to bring awareness, but on the other side, it's, now that it's being made aware, how many people are going to get the idea to do this? That's the other side of it. Yeah. So if anyone ever comes to you with any kinds of videos of anyone, question everything. It goes back to what we were saying before about, the fake images and stuff. Question everything. Don't you really you can't believe anything that that you see anymore with this AI. I don't know where AI could, it could be great for, many things. Technology is always great and it's a useful tool. But the downside is that there are a lot of things that you just, you lose control over. And I'm just glad that I heard about this, and it's something that we can discuss and think about, and maybe get ahead of, maybe get those laws in place, maybe at least be aware of it. So if it happens to someone, we don't just immediately believe it. We'll at least train ourselves to second guess things, because, we have to. In this day, you have to second guess everything. Not only do we have, Photoshop images of, perfect bodies and homes, but we have entirely fake videos of real people. And that's scary. That's really scary. I don't know where that'll go, but that's scary.
That really is.
That's what I'm trying to teach Crystal right now, because like no matter what you text or even send, it's out there. There's a way of always finding it.
Yeah, I mean, last week I broke my phone. I thought my phone was broken. This is my first iPhone. I always had Android phones. And I just assumed it was like an Android phone. Like once it's broken, it's done. You have to go buy a new phone. But I was able to call Apple support, and they actually remoted into my phone, and they just fixed it while I was on the call with them. They fixed the phone. And I'm like, well, you just deleted everything. Did I lose? They're like, no, you lost some, a few of my text conversations, a few small things, but everything else is on the cloud. I'm like, what do you mean? So then I logged into the cloud, and there's everything, every picture I've ever taken, every video, every single message I've ever sent, like everything is right there on. So if you're not aware of this, if you're, a young person listening, or, even if you're an older person that just doesn't know, every single thing you do on your phone or on the computer, it's there. It's the internet is forever. Once you do it, you can never really undo it. It's always there. So it's definitely something to be mindful of. It's definitely something to talk to your kids about. The holidays are coming up, and a lot of kids get, they get electronics for the holidays. And I feel like every year kids are getting electronics younger and younger, which again technology is great. It's great to get them the exposure. It's great to get them accustomed to using these things. A lot of schools are incorporating laptops, so that's great. But it's our jobs to teach them how to be responsible and then also to protect them. And we, like I said earlier, we can't always be there. So we have to teach them and then put other safeguards in place to protect them at the times that, we can't. There's plenty of monitoring apps, parental controls, things like that. And it's so important that we take, the few minutes to learn how they work and set them up, because anything can go wrong. You can do everything right and send your child off with their family for the holidays, especially, we were talking about this in our community group. We have a lot of families where there's divorced parents or, just blended families, and kids go for, weeks at a time with the other parents, or they go visit a grandparents or other family. And it's just something where, you're not always going to be able to supervise your child or have the other parent supervise the child the way that you would. So if you're getting electronics, I think that's great. I do think that kids should learn to use them, because technology is just advancing so quickly. The earlier they learn to use it, the better. But you definitely have to
Yes.
protect. You definitely have to protect them and safeguard.
And definitely also have communication with the kid. Explain if like they've seen anything bad, to show them how to go in and report it if you're
Hmm.
not with them. And that's one
Right.
thing I've established with both my kids.
Hmm. That's very important. I know we were talking about kids going away for the holidays, and I was thinking, that's a recent topic that we were discussing in our communities. Everyone does the holidays differently. So some families, they travel, they visit family members. Other families, they stay home and they keep all the kids home. So I found it interesting, just, in these conversations, to discuss how holidays are celebrated very differently. We are coming up, we're in November now, and I feel like, we've got Thanksgiving coming up, and then we've got Christmas, and, it's definitely, it can be a stressful time. We talk about mental health. I know there's a lot of research to show that, numbers of depression and things like that go up around the holidays. So it's definitely something to be aware of. It's also a stressful time for a lot of people. So I definitely think we should talk about how different people handle the holidays. There were a few posts in our community group recently about this topic, and people were discussing, how do they handle it. For some people, this is their first time going through a divorce, or it's their first holiday in a blended family situation. So I know for me, um, my traditions are probably very different. Um, my husband and I, we take the kids to Disney for Christmas. This year we're going to try to go away for Thanksgiving, but we're very fortunate where we kind of just do everything as a family. But I know, Heather, I think you were telling me that in your family, traveling is how the traditions are followed.
Yeah, so my husband actually comes from a divorced family, and then I didn't. So when he and I were dating, going to his, dad's on Christmas and then to his mom's on Christmas, and then my parents, we did Christmas Eve. Like that was completely normal and that was fine. But when you have kids and you try to, rope that in there, and then they're little and they're excited about the toys that, Santa got them, and now you have to kind of take them away and, drive an hour to go out to family. That was probably, and still is, one of the biggest hot topics in our marriage. And I mean, we've been together almost 20 years now, and it's still to this day something that he and I don't see eye to eye on. And there were years where I would compromise and we would split and go and see everybody. And then there were years where I was like very adamant and I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. I'll host Christmas. I think part of it is you have to be flexible, but you also have to also do whatever's for the best interest of the kid, when they're 5 and 6, and taking them away, in my opinion, wasn't the best thing for them. So
Yeah, it's I can definitely see how that would be stressful. And, if it's something that he's used to doing, I think there just comes a point where you have to understand that when you have your own children and you have your own immediate family, you have to do a shift. You have to shift from what you're used to doing in your childhood to now the focus becomes the childhood of your children and the memories or the traditions that you want to create for your own children. And I know it probably just sounds like I'm taking your side, but I mean, I honestly, I think that I grew up where every Christmas Eve we would go to my grandmother's house, and then on Christmas Day we would go to my dad's mom's house, so we'd go to my other grandparents' house, and then just like you're saying, it's a lot of running around. And that's how my parents did it when they were married, and then even after they were divorced, and there was definitely a lot of visiting. Now, my solution was to move across the country and just get away from everyone. So I didn't have to go do any of that anymore. However, that started to come to me. So my mom would come. It started the very first year that I moved to Florida. She happened to decide to come for Christmas. She didn't want to miss Christmas, so she came. And she has come pretty much every year since. And, I always feel guilty because I moved away and I know she loves Christmas and I'm just kind of a, take it or leave it with Christmas. But she has come and that's, become her tradition. And there haven't only been a few years in the last, 15 years where I've done kind of Christmas for my kids and the way that they want Christmas. And this is going to be one of those years. She is not coming. So we are going to Disney for Christmas and we've already planned it out. And we're just going to do it very simple. But, I wanted a year where I didn't have any stress. I was practicing all those things that I preach, prioritizing mental health, self-care. And I have so much going on that I gave myself this year of I didn't want any visits. I didn't want to, take on any extra stress, like you're saying, traveling and splitting up, family. Josh's family lives far away. He's got, family in Hawaii and, North Carolina. And it's a lot of traveling. So it's nice to just take some time and say, I am not doing that. You can say no. You can say, I'm setting this boundary. I'm giving myself this 1 year and I'm not going anywhere. So if your husband and I, not your husband and I, we are not celebrating, your husband and I are not celebrating anything together. I'm sure he's a very nice person, but he is your husband. But if you and your husband are, can't come to a compromise on how to celebrate and how to travel or not travel, I would probably recommend just stepping back, take a year and say, listen, we are just not doing anything. We are staying home this year. And, just think about, what do our kids want? Because you're like myself, your daughter is 16. I mean, I don't know how many more Christmases we have where they're little kids. And, it's sad to think about it, but like I said, you have to think about what's in their best interest. And I think that just goes to what Mommy Rules the World is all about. It's about making yourself a priority as a parent and in your own life and doing what's in the best interest of your children always. So those are things that we always incorporate. I promote them and preach them, but I also try to practice them as well. And I try to keep things very real so that people can, as the kids would say, touch grass, but they can, very realistically relate to real life. I think living in reality is probably overrated in our society, but I still like to, I guess I'm old school. I like to live in reality and I like to stay grounded. Yes, children, it is called staying grounded. It is not called touching grass, but I get it. You don't understand that. It's okay. So we are going to harass you with touching grass. I will say that all the time now. But honestly, I just think that in our community, we have a place where everyone is very real and relatable because we're real. And I love that we're able to incorporate all those things and then give each other advice. And so with that being said, Heather, And Ashley and Kira, thank you for being part of our community. Thank you for your support, for doing, this podcast episode. And I really am excited to, for the next one, to see where we take the conversation and to just continue to watch everything grow. And for everyone that has been tuning in and, downloading and listening, I'm very, very grateful. I'm happy that we have so much support and that we built such a community that is reaching, beyond our community. We're reaching so many people, and I'm very, very happy for that. And I hope that all of you will continue to touch grass with me, or stay grounded if you're, in our generation, and continue to tune in weekly. Make sure you're following our social media at Mommy Rules the World. And you can find all of our podcast episodes on mommyrulestheworld.com/podcast. Thank you, everyone.